Eart-be-vi. That was the first of many memories that I gained from Hanvi, and just as Knowledge had said, both me and Serpent Child had grew into and out of many names since that day. I remember when I was given a name I favored greatly, for the sound of it alone sprang life throughout my very being. Eart-be-vi was what I had been called. In rough translation of other tongues, it came out as "He who moved with Earth Children." I gained this name through actions. I was accustomed to performing out of habit. It happened like so. One day, both Serpent Child and I were up atop our hut enjoying the beast, the fluffy ones, clouds, made through their slow movements and constant collisions, when an elder began to approach us rushing. I slid down to the earth, and with a few leaps I had reached the elder with Serpent Child a few leaps behind me. "Javaka," he called out. "Hurry, the village is in need of its people. You help Earth raise her green children, so you know eating crop is very plentiful these harvest moons." I placed my hand on my neck, then head. Yes, I remember this Elishar. Elishar, the elder continued on. "Huge amounts of it are disappearing, and yet others hit the earth with no roots, perishing away. This has been happening since the past few moons. We need your mind images to stop this," he said, as while pointing to the fields. We had started going towards the field when I sent Serpent Child back to the hut for a few things and asked Elishar to gather many young men and digging staffs. "I will be there when you are," I said to him as I turned to meet Serpent Child. I was aware that there had been beasts which could live under or within the earth, for I have seen them in the bush when I explored it. I knew that, like all other living things, I would not kill them unless I needed their energy, and this wasn't one of those moments. Once I had reached the hut, Serpent Child had already began gathering things. I grabbed a few bags of grain and jerked my head towards the fields. Serpent Child had understood the gesture and placed the last few yellow stones into his pouch. We raced out of the hut and quickly reached Elishar. He stood amongst the young men in our village who were chattering non-stop like the small furry beast of the trees. I then began instructing each of the young men to use their digging staff to block off some of the small holes to these small beast villages throughout the crops. While they did this, I told Elishar, Serpent Child, and another young man to take the bags of grain and make trails of grain, leading away from the crop into the bush. I trailed behind these three, and as they laid out the trails of grain, I set out to my own task. With the flame stick, dry leaves, and yellow rocks, I began to create thick clouds of darkness which I fanned into the unblocked holes. Once all had done their part, I was on a second go-around of the dark clouds when the first of the small fuzzy beast fled from the holes. At first they scattered about as many of them poured out of the earth. Then amongst their confusion, some running across the grain stopped and began eating. It was not till long after that all of the small beast had fed their way back into the bush. The crops and village were once again free of the beast that threatened it. I, Serpent Child, Elishar, and the young men gathered the rest of the healthy crop as we turned the earth through itself. A few moons later, the Festival of Names was held. This was to grant us all new names. That is when I became Eart-be-vi. Respectively, Serpent Child, Elishar, and the young men received new names.